More than 100 pyramids pierce Egypt's desert horizon, some crumbled, others gleaming with eerie perfection. Built without cranes, iron tools, or wheels, they still outsmart our understanding. How did ancient engineers lift stones heavier than city buses? Why were these structures aligned so precisely with the stars? And what did they mean to the people who built them? These weren't just tombs, they were political declarations, spiritual launchpads, and architectural feats still unmatched in some respects today. This is Armchair Archaeology, and today we're unlocking the secrets of Egypt's pyramid builders, not just at Giza, but across 3,000 years of innovation and ritual. And stay with us, because before we end, you'll hear how a modern physicist used cosmic rays, yes, cosmic rays, to uncover a hidden space that hadn't been touched in over 4,000 years. But don't worry, we're not giving away everything just yet. The full reveal comes at the end, and trust me, it's worth the wait. If you love uncovering ancient mysteries and the genius behind early civilizations, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a new episode of Armchair Archaeology. Scattered across Egypt's ancient landscape, the pyramids remain silent giants, timeless, immovable, and still filled with questions. From the towering precision of Giza to the tiered prototype at Saqqara, these monuments aren't just archaeological marvels. They are blueprints of an entire worldview where religion, politics, and architecture were inseparable. The Step Pyramid of Djoser, constructed over 4,600 years ago, marked the beginning of large-scale stone construction in human history. Before it, Egyptian tombs were modest mastabas built from mud brick. But with Djoser's reign came a leap, a sudden, monumental shift from clay to cut stone, flat to stacked, temporary to eternal. Within just a few generations, Egypt went from experimental steps to flawless geometry. That evolution reached its pinnacle at Giza. The Great Pyramid, built around 2560 BCE, covers 13 acres and rises nearly 150 meters. Its base is aligned to true north with an error of just 3 arc minutes, less than 1/15 of a degree. Even today, with satellite positioning and laser tools, modern builders struggle to match that level of precision. And the ancient Egyptians managed it with sightlines, plumb bobs, and a deep understanding of the stars. Yet the mystery goes beyond tools. How did this knowledge emerge so quickly? And why did it reach such heights before fading? The pyramid at Abu Rawash, once taller than Khafra's, lies in ruin, a reminder that the story of Egyptian pyramids isn't linear. Some efforts failed, others triumphed, but all contributed to an unprecedented architectural legacy. The real wonder isn't just in the stones, it's in how rapidly a civilization mastered them. The pyramids aren't just historical. They're proof that human ingenuity can leap forward faster than we expect, even without the machines we take for granted today. The stones of the pyramids weren't shaped with lost technology or alien intervention. They were carved, chipped, and smoothed using simple tools available in the Bronze Age. And yet, the builders achieved results that would challenge even today's most skilled masons. Their primary tools were copper chisels, dolerite pounders, wooden mallets, and stone hammers. Copper, while soft by modern standards, could be made sharp and was ideal for working with the relatively soft limestone used in the pyramid cores. For harder materials like granite, laborers turned to dolerite, a dense, volcanic rock that could pulverize stone through sheer force. Think of it as the ancient version of a sledgehammer, perfect for hammering against granite quarries until the stone cracked free. Excavations at workers' villages, such as the one near Giza, reveal rows of workshops filled with broken chisels, worn tools, and piles of copper slag. These were not improvised work zones. They were highly organized spaces of continuous production and repair. Imagine walking into one of these ancient workshops, rows of tools, piles of copper slag, and the rhythmic clinking of metal echoing through the desert air. One of the most sophisticated aspects of their system was tool recycling. As chisels dulled, they were gathered, melted down, and reforged, often on site. This created a closed-loop process where metal was constantly reused, minimizing waste and maximizing efficiency. It's a method that would be praised in today's conversations around sustainability. At Armchair, archaeologists uncovered a ceremonial cache of over 4,000 copper tools, deliberately buried after a construction project. Their placement suggests reverence not only for the tools themselves, but also for the work they made possible. This wasn't a society improvising its way through monumental construction. It was one that planned, adapted, and engineered at every stage. Their tools may seem basic, but the systems behind them were anything but. In them, we see not just craftsmanship, but the foundation of industrial thinking, 4,500 years ahead of its time. Before a single block could be laid, it had to be moved, often from miles away. Some of the limestone came from nearby quarries, but the polished casing stones and massive granite blocks used in internal chambers had to travel from places like Tura and Aswan up to 500 miles to the south. Moving these stones, some weighing more than 60 tons, required more than brute strength. On land, large wooden sledges were pulled by teams of workers, often across lubricated sand. Tomb paintings show workers pouring water ahead of the sledges, a detail once dismissed as symbolic. Modern physics experiments later confirmed that dampening the sand cut friction nearly in half. What once seemed ritual turned out to be engineering. On the Nile, stones were shipped aboard wooden barges during the flood season. Sites like Wadi al-Jarf have yielded harbor structures, anchors, and the remains of transport boats, suggesting a state-coordinated network capable of managing massive cargo. But building a pyramid wasn't just a matter of muscle. It was about coordination on a national scale. And just when this all starts sounding too advanced for the ancient world, enter Mira. The logistics behind these operations rival modern supply chains, coordinating labor, materials, and timing across hundreds of miles would have required planning on a scale that's familiar to any modern engineer or military quartermaster. That level of organization is captured vividly in one extraordinary find: a set of papyri discovered in 2013, written by an overseer named Mera. His daily records detail the transport of limestone from Tura to the Giza Plateau, complete with docking locations, crew rotations, and cargo timetables. These are the oldest known written records of large-scale project management. And if you want to explore even more ancient breakthroughs, from lost cities to forgotten tech, check out our book, Secrets of the Ancient World. You'll find the link in the pinned comment below. Egypt's pyramid builders didn't just move mountains, they moved them with intention, precision, and a mastery of logistics that still impresses today. The stones weren't simply transported, they were orchestrated into place by a civilization that understood time, labor, and terrain as tools in their own right. Transporting stone was just the beginning. Once on site, the real challenge began. Raising blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons, into position, often at significant heights. The ancient Egyptians had no cranes, no steel cables, and no pulleys. So how did they manage to build structures taller than a modern 40-story building? The leading theory involves ramps. Straight ramps stretching from the base, zigzagging switchbacks, and spirals have all been proposed. But each model presents practical problems. A straight ramp with a gentle enough slope to move heavy blocks would have to be longer than the pyramid itself, requiring more material than the monument it supported. Recent discoveries at Hatnub provide new insight. Archaeologists unearthed a 4,500-year-old ramp system complete with post holes and staircases, evidence that ancient Egyptians weren't guessing, they were engineering. There, a stepped ramp with central staircases and wooden post holes suggests that sledges were hauled upward using ropes, lubricants, and coordinated teams. This system may have allowed workers to raise stone along steep gradients, solving the space dilemma. Some researchers suggest that innovation went deeper, literally. Architect Jean-Pierre Houdin proposed that the Great Pyramid may conceal a spiraling internal ramp built as the structure rose. While still debated, some scans of the pyramid have revealed anomalies that match the path. Such a spiral might have followed, keeping the theory alive in academic circles. Other theories propose that blocks were buried in temporary embankments and gradually revealed as the structure grew upward, transforming lifting into excavation through pre-planned construction sequencing. Rather than rely on a single method, Egypt's builders likely evolved techniques as they learned from one project to the next. What we're seeing is not one master blueprint, but a culture of architectural experimentation, where each pyramid was both a monument and a prototype, pushing the boundaries of what was possible with stone, muscle, and insight. If you love diving deep into the mysteries of the ancient world, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us here at Armchair Archaeology, where we turn history's biggest questions into unforgettable stories, week after week. The pyramids weren't just feats of engineering, they were acts of celestial precision. Many of Egypt's pyramids, especially from the Old Kingdom, are aligned with astonishing accuracy to the cardinal directions. This wasn't decorative, it was deliberate and deeply symbolic. At Giza, the Great Pyramid is aligned to true north with an error of only a few arc minutes, less than 1/15 of a degree. That level of accuracy rivals, and in some cases surpasses, modern buildings constructed with GPS. And the Egyptians achieved it using nothing more than plumb lines, leveling tools, and careful observations of the night sky. They likely tracked circumpolar stars, those that never set, to establish a constant reference point. These stars were more than navigational tools. They represented eternity, permanence, and divine presence. Aligning a pyramid wasn't just about symmetry. It was about anchoring the king's eternal legacy to the heavens. It wasn't just smart, it was sacred. The internal features of pyramids reflect this cosmic mindset. Narrow shafts within the Great Pyramid, for example, are aligned toward constellations like Orion and Sirius, celestial homes of Osiris and Isis, gods of resurrection and rebirth. To the ancient Egyptians, these stars weren't just lights in the sky, they were divine coordinates for the soul's celestial ascent. These architectural choices weren't decorative, they were functional components of the pharaoh's spiritual journey. The orientation of pyramid complexes also played a role in public symbolism. Alignments to solstices, specific stars, or the Nile created a sense of divine order visible to all who approached. The king's authority wasn't just political, it was cosmic. In a world without satellites or compasses, the Egyptians turned to the sky as their guide. In doing so, they connected architecture with astronomy in ways that echo through time, reminding us that even today, when we launch satellites or explore Mars, we're still building with the stars in mind. What do you think the stars meant to the ancient Egyptians? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing your theories and insights. Your ideas often spark our next deep dive, so don't be shy. The grandeur of Egypt's pyramids isn't just in their size, it's in their stability. Building a mountain of stone is difficult enough. Carving chambers and passageways inside, without triggering collapse, required a sophisticated understanding of stress, weight, and architectural balance centuries before such concepts were written down. In the Great Pyramid, above the king's chamber, 5 small relieving chambers sit stacked like protective layers. These weren't decorative. They redirected the crushing force of millions of tons of stone outward and away from the vulnerable chamber below. By layering granite beams and using angled ceilings, the builders dispersed pressure much like engineers today do in bridge arches and skyscraper cores. Elsewhere inside, the Grand Gallery stretches upward with a steep, corbelled ceiling that does more than impress. It's like walking through a stone cathedral built by math. Every angle, every layer was calculated to bear weight. Centuries before engineering was even a profession. Its sloped walls and step design helped channel the massive weight of the pyramids safely down and away from the passage. In modern terms, it functions like an internal buttress system, performing both as a hallway and a load-bearing structure. Ingenious structures like this are just a glimpse of the ancient engineering marvels we explore in Secrets of the Ancient World. It's filled with surprising details you won't find in textbooks, perfect for curious minds who love digging deeper. This kind of multi-purpose design wasn't accidental. Throughout pyramid interiors, corbelled ceilings, sloped corridors, and material shifts from limestone to dense granite show how every design choice balanced form with function. Walking through these chambers today, it's easy to forget you're inside a building that's over 4 millennia old. But the silence and solidity speak volumes. The builders weren't just stacking blocks, they were solving problems in real time, with no blueprints, no steel, and no second chances. Their legacy isn't just architectural, it's intellectual. These interiors reveal minds that thought like engineers long before the word even existed, and their designs still hold up in ways that many modern buildings can only envy. Popular myth long painted the pyramids as the product of slavery and suffering, but archaeology tells a very different story, one of skilled labor, national effort, and social organization on a massive scale. The core builders were not slaves, but craftsmen, masons, carpenters, toolmakers, and stonecutters, many of whom worked full-time on state projects. During the Nile's flood season, when farming was impossible, thousands of seasonal laborers joined the effort. These were citizens fulfilling a duty to the Pharaoh and the state, an ancient form of civic service rewarded with food, shelter, and honor. It wasn't slavery, it was nation-building. Participation brought food, honor, and even a path to the afterlife. At Giza, excavations have uncovered vast workers' villages, complete with housing, granaries, bakeries, and breweries. Archaeologists have even found medical tools and evidence of treated injuries, including healed bones, suggesting that workers received care, not punishment. These were not improvised camps. They were planned communities supporting one of the largest construction efforts in human history. And just west of the pyramids, something remarkable: small tombs built for the workers themselves. These graves contained jars of beer and bread, amulets, and even tools placed there as offerings for the afterlife. These weren't just workers, they were remembered. Their placement near the pyramids wasn't coincidental. It was a mark of respect. To be buried in the shadow of the monument you helped build was a final honor. The logistics behind pyramid construction weren't just about stone and ramps. They were about people, organized, trained, and motivated, managing tens of thousands of laborers, feeding them, caring for them, and coordinating their work was a feat that rivals modern infrastructure projects. The pyramids are monuments to ambition, yes, but they're also testaments to teamwork. Every stone was a collaboration, and every builder a part of something far bigger than themselves. If you'd like to support this channel and keep the stories coming, consider clicking the Super Thanks button below. Every contribution helps us dig deeper, literally and figuratively. From the outside, the pyramids seem solid, mathematical, even predictable. But their interiors tell a different story, one of shadows, sloped corridors, and chambers whose functions remain only partially understood. These spaces weren't simply designed to hold a body. They were structured with purpose, intention, and mystery. Inside the Great Pyramid and others, narrow shafts are angled with precision towards specific stars, Orion, Sirius, and other celestial markers tied to the gods Osiris and Isis. These weren't ventilation ducts. They were pathways for the soul, routes through which the spirit of the king could ascend into the sky and join the eternal cycle of the cosmos. Some passageways rise sharply, others shift direction or end abruptly. This irregularity isn't accidental. It reflects a symbolic journey from life to afterlife, complex, uncertain, and filled with spiritual obstacles. Just as Egyptian religion emphasized transformation and rebirth, the pyramid's interior mimicked that process in stone. In later pyramids, especially at Saqqara, walls were covered with inscriptions from the pyramid texts, the oldest known religious writings in the world. These texts weren't just funerary poems. They were ritual formulas meant to activate the pyramid itself, spells to guide the soul, protect it from harm, and ensure it reached the heavens intact. Even today, these structures haven't yielded all their secrets. Using advanced scanning technologies like thermal imaging and density mapping, researchers have found signs of hidden voids and unexplored cavities buried deep within the stone. What lies beyond those sealed walls remains unknown. The mystery isn't just ancient, it's alive and growing with every new scan. These weren't just rooms, they were sanctified spaces, crafted with the same precision and intent as the heavens they reflected. The pyramid's interior was a sacred machine, designed to work in silence and in darkness until eternity unfolded. But once you're inside, beyond the shafts and sacred geometry, another question emerges. Were the pyramids just tombs? That's long been the default assumption. After all, they housed sarcophagi and stood at the center of sprawling mortuary complexes. But the deeper we look, the more layered their purpose becomes. These weren't simple vaults for royal remains. Their layout, symbolism, and astronomical alignment suggest a broader function. One designed not just to bury a body, but to elevate a king into the realm of gods. This is made explicit in the pyramid texts, carved into the walls of pyramids from the 5th and 6th dynasties. These are more than funerary prayers. They're complex spiritual manuals, collections of spells, hymns, and ritual instructions meant to help the king ascend through the sky, merge with celestial powers, and survive the challenges of the afterlife. Some passages describe the pharaoh transforming into a star, sailing across the heavens for eternity. Not all pyramids contained bodies. Some scholars believe they were cenotaphs, monuments meant to embody divine presence more than physical remains. Others interpret them as ritual machines, designed to manipulate cosmic forces and align Egypt's ruler with the stars. Fascinated by these theories, our book dives even deeper into the mysteries and myths that shaped ancient civilizations. The link is waiting for you in the pinned comment. The very shape of the pyramid carries meaning. Its sloping sides may symbolize the rays of the sun, helping the soul rise to the sky. It also echoes the primordial mound of creation, the first land to emerge from chaos in Egyptian myth. We still build monuments today that are meant to inspire, immortalize, and embody belief. Like modern memorials, Pyramids projected power, but they also held promises. They weren't just meant to mark a life ended. They were meant to ensure a life continued, forever, in stone, in story, and in the stars. Long after Egypt's last pyramid was completed, the influence of these stone giants never faded. Their legacy reaches far beyond the Nile, across continents and cultures, embedded in everything from architecture to popular imagination. Civilizations, from Mesoamerica to Mesopotamia, developed their own pyramidal structures. Though separated by oceans and time, they echoed the same instinct: to build upward, toward the sky, creating monuments that symbolized permanence, divinity, and power. Whether ziggurats in Sumer or the temples of Teotihuacan, the pyramid form carried a universal appeal. Modern architects still draw on its geometry. From sci-fi films to state memorials, the pyramid continues to represent something bigger than stone: the dream of permanence. The Louvre's glass pyramid in Paris, national memorials around the world, and even futuristic eco-buildings borrow from its form. It conveys order and endurance, qualities every great monument aspires to. But the allure isn't just structural, it's psychological. The pyramids have fueled centuries of speculation: hidden chambers, mystical energies, lost technologies. These ideas often stray from evidence, yet they reveal how deeply these monuments continue to grip the human imagination. What makes that fascination even more powerful is that the pyramids are still giving up their secrets. Scanning technologies, 3D modeling, and remote sensing continue to uncover architectural details once thought lost. The sense of mystery isn't just legend, it's real and ongoing. Perhaps that's the key to their endurance. The pyramids weren't built to impress for a single generation. They were constructed to transcend time. They connected heaven and earth, ruler and god, stone and star. They weren't just built to last. They were built to speak to future dreamers, architects, and questioners like us. Across more than 4,000 years, the pyramids have withstood earthquakes, looting, and the shifting sands of time. But their greatest strength isn't just structural, it's symbolic. They continue to captivate not because they are old, but because they still feel alive, unresolved, mysterious, and somehow speaking across time. We've examined the tools, the stones, the stars, the workers, and the meanings, and still the pyramids have more to tell us. And now, as promised at the start of this video, let's talk about cosmic rays. In 2017, a team of physicists used a technique called muon tomography, originally developed in particle physics, to scan the interior of the Great Pyramid. Unlike traditional excavation, this method reads how cosmic rays pass through stone to detect variations in density. It's like taking an X-ray of a mountain without ever touching it. And what they found? Let's just say it rewrote the story of the Great Pyramid. A massive void completely unknown until that moment, hidden above the Grand Gallery, roughly the size of a passenger plane. This space had never been seen, entered, or even imagined in over 4 millennia. Its purpose remains unknown. In a single scan, we went from certainty to question mark, all over again. That's the magic of archaeology. Just when you think you've mapped it, a new door opens. This discovery isn't ancient legend, it's peer-reviewed science. And it reminds us that even the most studied monument on Earth can still surprise us. The pyramids weren't built just to impress their own time. They were meant to transcend time, and they have. Today, we explore them with space-age tools, yet still walk away with ancient questions. Thank you for joining Armchair Archaeology on this journey into Egypt's enduring genius. These stones still speak, and with every scan, every rediscovery, we learn how to listen.